Hello everyone and welcome to my Bachelor Nation 24 channel. I hope everyone is having a wonderful day. Before we begin, please hit the subscribe button and give this video a thumbs up. I'm struggling to understand what's coming next for Chock Chapple and Joan Vassos. Their disagreements are getting out of hand. The Golden Bachelorette stars Joan Vassos and Chock Chapple have been struggling with the backlash against their relationship. But even with reassurance, I'm struggling to understand what's coming next for the couple after consistent disagreements. Throughout the Golden Bachelorette Season 1 and in the aftermath, it's been clear that Joan and Chock had a genuine connection. Though Bachelor Nation hasn't always backed Joan on her decision to move forward with Chock, the couple have been adamant that their relationship is something both are committed to working through. Despite challenges, the pair have been keeping Bachelor Nation updated on what's going on. Chock, a Kansas native who came into the Golden Bachelorette after losing his fiancée of nearly a decade to cancer, has been open about his feelings for Joan since the early days of the series, making it clear that he was on the show to get to know and build a relationship with Joan. Chock has been adamant that his feelings for his leading lady have only grown stronger after the Golden Bachelorette Season 1 finished filming. In the show's aftermath, however, Joan and Chock have caused confusion with their oversharing and the plans they have about their future. Although Joan and Chock were being watched closely in the aftermath of the Golden Bachelorette Season 1, it was clear that the pair were having some differences in opinion moving into the holiday season. While Chock had been visiting Joan in Maryland throughout the weeks after the season, their busy schedule made it difficult for the pair to work through their differences as they were discussing what came next for them. While Joan wanted to have the holiday in her home with her family, Chock was considering his kids in his holiday plans, traditionally held back in his home state. While the couple had a Thanksgiving celebration that brought their families together at Joan's home in Maryland, it was clear that the pair still had some things to work through surrounding their visit to his hometown. And what was next? Christmas came quickly, but with Joan and Chock spending the 2 weeks leading up to the holiday season apart, it wasn't easy for the couple to navigate their plans. Ultimately, Chock wound up spending Christmas with Joan's family in Maryland. And though everything seemed happy on social media, it appeared there could be an undercurrent of tension for the couple. As Joan and Chock moved through the holidays, it became clear that they'd spent a lot of time in Maryland. Bachelor Nation had been commenting on how much time Joan's home state had been given in their post-show plans, remembering that the Golden couple had said they planned to spend some time in Maryland, then some time in Kansas, going back and forth until they made their next move. While they'd spent quite a bit of time in Maryland, they had yet to spend any time together in Chock's native Kansas. The New Year's holiday rectified Joan and Chock's plans. Traveling to Kansas, the couple got the opportunity to spend time together on Chock's home turf for the first time since his hometown on the Golden Bachelorette. Chock was excited to share his home state with Joan and explained in an Instagram post that there were a few places that were non-negotiables for his future wife. Though Joan hasn't shared her initial thoughts on Chock's home state, she got the opportunity to start the year with the second love of her life in the place he calls home. Though things may appear to be going well, trouble may be coming. Although Joan and Chock have been moving around throughout their time together, they've been biding their time before they make their next move. During the Golden Bachelorette, after the final rose, Joan and Chock revealed that they wanted to move to a whole new place together. Even though Joan hadn't been interested in leaving Maryland prior to her time as the Golden Bachelorette, the pair seemed like they were being genuine when they mentioned the idea of living in New York City together. After the finale, they even headed to the Big Apple and met with a real estate agent. While Joan and Chock have been doing their best to keep Bachelor Nation updated on what's going on in their lives after the show, they haven't been as upfront with their plans to move away from Maryland or Kansas, respectively. The couple appear dedicated to each other, but I'm not sure if they want to take the leap to move from either of their home states to a whole new place. Though both seem to enjoy New York City, it feels like at least one of them is trying to find an alternative before the modest restaurant flickered with an unsteady rhythm, as though echoing the tension at the table. Chock Chapple and Joan Vassos sat opposite each other, their dinner plates untouched. What should have been a serene evening to celebrate their time on the Golden Bachelorette felt more like the beginning of a storm. Joan's elegant posture belied the turmoil beneath, while Chock's hands gripped the edge of the table as if steadying himself for battle. "I just don't understand where your head's at, Chock," Joan began, her voice calm but laced with frustration. "You keep saying one thing and doing another. It's confusing. It's exhausting." Chock sighed deeply, leaning back in his chair. "And I don't understand why you can't see that I'm trying. I've been upfront about who I am from the start. This is me, Joan. This is how I handle things. I don't do grand gestures or big speeches. I show up. I'm here, aren't I?" But Joan wasn't buying it. "Being here physically doesn't mean you're present emotionally. You're so guarded, Chock. I'm always guessing what you're feeling. And when I finally get a glimpse, it's like you pull the shutters closed again." The words stung, but Chock knew there was truth in them. Still, he couldn't help but feel attacked. "And you're never satisfied," he shot back. "You keep pushing and pushing for more. Do you even see me for who I am? Or are you just trying to mold me into some ideal partner?" Joan's eyes flared. "Mold you? Is that what you think I'm doing? Chock, I'm not asking for perfection. I'm asking for effort, for compromise, for you to meet me halfway. Why is that so hard for you to understand?" The waiter approached tentatively, sensing the tension, and asked if they needed anything else. Both shook their heads, their gazes locked in a silent duel. As the waiter retreated, Chock broke the silence. "You talk about compromise like it's a one-way street. Like I'm the only one who needs to change. But what about you, Joan? You've got walls too. You're not as open and vulnerable as you like to pretend." Joan's face softened momentarily, but her resolve quickly returned. "Maybe I do have walls, but at least I'm trying to break them down. At least I'm willing to have these conversations. You, on the other hand, would rather avoid them altogether." "Because every conversation feels like a test," Chock exclaimed, his voice rising slightly. "A test I'm doomed to fail no matter what I say or do. Can't we just enjoy each other's company without dissecting every little thing?" Joan leaned forward, her eyes narrowing. "Enjoyment without substance is meaningless, Chock. I didn't come on this journey to settle for surface-level connections. I came here to find something real, something lasting. And right now, I don't know if we're on the same page." Chock's heart sank. The truth was, he didn't know if they were on the same page either. But he also wasn't sure how to bridge the growing chasm between them. He'd always prided himself on being steadfast, unflappable. But Joan had a way of challenging him, of pushing him to confront parts of himself he'd rather leave buried. "Maybe we're just different people," he said quietly, almost to himself. "Maybe we're trying to force something that isn't meant to be." Joan's eyes glistened with unshed tears, but her voice remained steady. "Or maybe we're both scared. Scared of getting hurt. Scared of being vulnerable. But if we don't take that risk, Chock, what's the point? We might as well pack it in now." Her words hung in the air, heavy with implication. For a moment, neither of them spoke. The restaurant's ambient noise seemed to grow louder, the clinking of glasses and murmured conversations providing an ironic contrast to the quiet despair at their table. Finally, Chock spoke, his voice low but firm. "I don't want to pack it in. I care about you, Joan, more than I've cared about anyone in a long time. But I don't know if I can be the man you need me to be. I don't know if I can change that much." Joan reached across the table, placing her hand over his. "I'm not asking you to change who you are, Chock. I'm asking you to let me in, to trust me, to trust us. Is that something you're willing to do?" Chock looked at her hand, then into her eyes. He saw the sincerity there, the hope mingled with fear, and he realized that he was at a crossroads. He could either retreat into the safety of his old ways or take a leap of faith and meet Joan halfway. "I'll try," he said finally, his voice thick with emotion. "I don't know if I'll always get it right, but I'll try. For you. For us." Joan smiled, a small but genuine smile that lit up her face. "That's all I've ever wanted, Chock. For you to try." The tension at the table eased slightly, replaced by a tentative sense of hope. It wasn't a perfect resolution, but it was a start. And sometimes that's all you can ask for.